Going to finish over on Netflix with a 2-part documentary which arrived on Tuesday the 7th of January. It's called Jerry Springer Fights, Camera, Action. And here's a clip.
Nothing like Jerry Springer had ever been seen before.
We wanted to create a new genre of talk show.
Like this!
Let's turn it upside down.
It was the inception of American shock culture.
Our show was chaos.
It was genius. The modern version of the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah, so when I saw this and I was reviewing this, it kind of made me think of like the whole Jeremy Kyle stuff that came out, because of course Jeremy Kyle was the British version, I guess to a degree, of the Jerry Springer Show. Now, some of our younger listeners might not remember the Jerry Springer Show. I do, the latter years of it, and it was just that kind of tabloid television, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. And it just brought on all kind of people from society who had troubles, some of them arguably not well at all, and brought out in front of a camera and questioned and sort of Jerry Springer played the host, and they argued it might be an affair or it might be, just think of Jeremy Kyle show on steroids is probably the best way to think of it. But this was something that they took a massive risk on. And it worked. It absolutely worked. I think it was the first show that really rivaled and outperformed Oprah, which was, pretty incredible. And it was outrageous. And this is a documentary, of which there are 2 episodes, and it delves into what happened backstage. It delves into how they managed to get that sort of content for the stage. And perhaps it's not quite as glamorous as, well, it didn't look very glamorous at the time, to be fair, but, perhaps it's not quite as it seems. And as I say, I referred to Jeremy Kyle, there were lots of news reports about that show. It eventually got taken off air. And in a similar vein, you've got first-hand interviews with people that were on the show, who can tell you exactly what happened, and it's not for the faint-hearted, really, is it, Ian? It's pretty awful in places, and the lengths that companies might go to for entertainment, and I'm just not sure it could or perhaps it does happen in its own way now, but it doesn't. Those kind of shows don't exist in quite the same way anymore. Maybe we're slightly more careful. I think there's a lot more work personally that needs to be done. But it was it's just a massive circus, and those people, however difficult their lives were, however it was them enough situation, you were watching them. They are human. They are people, and they have feelings. And it's left quite a few people pretty devastated. It's really, really interesting, I think, documentaries like this, seeing behind the curtain, I guess. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, it's good to look back on these things, because I don't think at the time, I think people just loved the Jerry Springer Show. I mean, it ran for nearly 4,000 episodes between 1991 and 2018, but it really was like kind of zoo TV. It was sort of like a bear pit with all the audience all chanting, and then bringing on, like, episode 1, it's always, they have the subtitle up, I married a horse. And they bring on this guy who has married a horse, and he's French kissing the horse. It's kind of a race to the bottom, really. But it was hugely popular. But they also mentioned that a couple who appeared on it died shortly after appearing on the show. So it's a dangerous game. And of course it had Jerry Springer as the host, who was a former mayor and had also been a news anchor. And he had this very kind of amiable, laid-back kind of presenting style, which kind of contrasted with the outrageous content of the show, and the brawls, you know, the onstage brawls, and you've got the security guys having to jump. You know, they wanted people to fight, basically. That was for them. That was pushing the ratings on. And I must admit, quite a few of the people who are involved behind the scenes come across as quite seedy characters to me, and they're very unapologetic about the whole thing. You know, so, but I remember it very well, and it's ironic that there was a musical called Jerry Springer the Opera, which was all about Jerry Springer, and that drew more complaints than the Jerry Springer Show. Just goes to show, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah, very entertaining. Whether you remember Jerry Springer or not, it's a good watch.